What's going on, everybody? It's Ricky from Video Homicide, and I just finished watching another recommendation from the Trash Stash, and this time it was Savage Dawn from 1985. So this movie, pretty funny. Well, not funny, but it's pretty funny that it stars like a wide range of sort of character cheeser actors and actresses, if you want to call it that, because in this film we have Lance Henriksen. We have George Kennedy. Of course, Lance Henriksen, known as being Bishop in Aliens. He's also in Hard Target. He's the villain in that film, which I love. George Kennedy, I mostly know him from being the shop clerk in Creepshow 2, in the Chief Woodenhead story, which I think is one of the most underrated anthology stories ever. And we got Richard Lynch in this film, who was in a bunch of like random really shitty movies from between the 70s and into the 80s, and I think he died like in the last like 10-15 years, but he was in a bunch of stuff. I know he was in God Told Me To, and I think he was in the Halloween film from 2007 directed by Rob Zombie. And not only that, but the last sort of cheeser actor in this movie was William Forsythe, billed as Bill Forsythe in this film. And Lance Henriksen plays this guy named Stryker. They're always named like Stryker or Strider or like some type of like, kind of cosmic-y military style type action hero kind of guy that rides a motorcycle. He rides into town to visit his buddy George Kennedy. They were war buddies together. And George Kennedy is like this guy that like builds weapons and all kinds of stuff like that, like in this little kind of not quite a bunker, but like this little kind of workshop. And William Forsythe runs this biker gang called the Savages, i.e. Savage Dawn. And they come into this town and start a bunch of bullshit. And, there's a lot of stuff happening in this film. Karen Black is also in this movie, who was in Trilogy of Terror. She was in House of a Thousand Corpses. She was in just a shitload of movies. Very recognizable actress. She's actually passed away in the last, I would probably say also last 10 years or maybe 5 years even, but greatly missed, very good character actor. And so Karen Black plays like this kind of bartender chick at this bar in the town in question, where Stryker and George Kennedy and his kids are kind of sitting around hanging out. And the gang comes into town, and there just so happens to be this fight, kind of a fight club thing happening there. And one of the bikers named Zero, who you might recognize from certain movies. I know he was in National Lampoon's Vacation. He plays like the mechanic / sheriff kind of guy that fucks over Clark Griswold. But he ends up fighting this sheriff guy, or not sheriff, but he's like a deputy who's like the reigning champion of these fight club fights. And the fight happens, Zero's getting his ass kicked, and all of a sudden William Forsythe, who's like sort of got like a bum leg in this movie, comes up and pulls a cheap shot and basically makes Zero win the fight. And they basically get banished from the town by the Reverend, who's Richard Lynch. The Reverend is also the mayor of this town, and like he's also like a sleazy guy who's like obsessed with pussy, and he's like always like hitting on chicks and different things like that. But now this biker gang is like banished, but like I guess you could almost call this movie like a Mad Max ripoff, because like they come back, and cause all kinds of shit. Like at one point they like rob an armory, so now this biker gang has like a tank. They got like random military vehicles, tons of guns, ammunition, all that kind of stuff. But George Kennedy wants to fight back. Strider doesn't really want to fight back, but George Kennedy's like, we ought to take back the town, you know what I mean? And he's armed with like his bazooka that's clearly like made out of PVC pipe, and he goes into town. He has got like a wheelchair / motorcycle vehicle that he drives around, and starts shooting the shit out of all these bikers with this bazooka. But then he ends up getting shot by William Forsythe, spoiler alert. And I guess you could say that this movie was like, I don't think it was the most fun out of like the last 3 movies I watched, being Lady Terminator, Hands of Steel, and then this one. I think this one probably falls second place, with Hands of Steel being top, then this one, then Lady Terminator. And just in terms of like action and acting and stuff, like I love Lance Henriksen. I think he is like a very underrated kind of actor from this era. Like he's got blonde hair in this movie. If you haven't seen Hard Target, though, by the way, definitely check that flick out, because it's awesome. Jean-Claude Van Damme, directed by John Woo, and it was a really good time. But this movie right here, Savage Dawn, I would recommend checking it out. Danny B of the Trash Dash, you know, I don't know how the fuck you know about all these movies, but I appreciate the suggestions for sure, man, because, you know, this isn't like an amazing flick, but it's one of those ones that you kind of want to see, like, especially if you're in like this mode that I'm in right now, watching these sort of, you know, rip-offs, you know, Terminator rip-offs, Mad Max style rip-offs, and this basically is an exact Mad Max rip-off when you think about it from beginning to middle. from the beginning of the film, it's pretty Mad Max-ish. End of the film, very Mad Max-ish, and yeah, I think anyone could have a good time with this one. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody for watching the video. Stay tuned for more. There's going to be a big channel update coming very soon. I know I keep saying that in every video, but it is coming. So with that being said, adios. See you later.